are going to have so much fun today. We're going to make all kinds of gifts and things for you, really, really interesting things out of placemats. The first project we're going to have today, which is made out of 2 placemats, is a caddy that goes beside your bed. You put this little part under the mattress and you'll have places, of course, for your favorite magazine, tissues, and maybe a TV flipper, as I call it. That could be one project. Another one that is one of my very, very favorite projects in the whole world, using just a purchased placemat, is one where you put baggies in here. You stitch them in, and then you can put your sewing equipment, you can put whatever you want to, and just have a little purse with the baggies in there, which will hold all of your goodies. The next purse that we're going to make is a makeup caddy. You see here are brushes, all kinds of makeup brushes, and fingernail file, a great big fat makeup brush, and a zipper. You can put all kinds of goodies in your makeup carrier. This is for your favorite notions for your sewing room. Goodness heavens, you can put your lace, you can put your glue, your bias tape, your scissors, your thread, anything you want to in your sewing room. Just hang it up on the wall and you'll have a place to conveniently organize a lot of goodies. Now, how about the time to go bag? This is a fun one. Have you ever been to the beach and you didn't take your glasses and you couldn't see your watch and you knew you'd been out too long? Well, that can all be solved if you just carry your time to go bag, which is made out of a couple of placemats and a very large clock. Come along with me and we're going to have some fun learning how to make all kinds of gifts from placemats. As I've traveled all around the world, really, in the last number of years, and as a matter of fact, we did 80,000 miles on one airline this year. They like us a lot. But anyway, I was talking to people, and I said, what do you really love to sew? And of course, I found out that you love to sew everything. You love to make very elaborate projects, and you also love to make fast, quick, easy projects too. And a lot of you said, Martha, do a show and on just some really fast gifts, because we love to make gifts and sometimes we don't have any time. And I thought, well, that's exactly what we'll do, and that's what we're going to do in the next few minutes. This is a fun little project, the time to go bag. Now, where would I carry this? If you want to know the truth, I'd carry this to the beach, or I'd carry it anywhere that my grandchildren were going with me. Don't you know grandchildren are going to just love having Granny with a bag like this? I don't take my glasses when I go out on the beach, so I can't see what time it is at all. So I have a fun time to go bag. Anyway, this is very easy to make. It's made out of 2 placemats, 2 purchased placemats, but don't tell anybody. They'll think we've been sewing and sewing and sewing. 2 purchased placemats, and there's a piece of ribbon stitched down right in the middle, so it'll give just a little bit of depth to the bag. And then the bag is trimmed really, really cute too. And by the way, you can make this bag and you don't have to put a big clock on the front of it. You just have a nice little tote bag. The trim is simply ribbon, grosgrain ribbon, come around miter the corners and just simply top stitch it on top. And you really have a very easy bag, whether you want to put a clock on it or not. This project is so much fun, and they're very expensive to buy things like this, I might add, in the really fancy stores. This holds notions. I put buttons and laces and trims and my beloved basting glue. You know how much I love that. Bias tape, scissors, thread, and I have all of these little pockets. So in my sewing room or anywhere you have a lot of things, and you might even make a masculine version of this, it would be wonderful for your husband's workroom, you know, to put nails and whatever in. This is made out of 2 placemats. Can you see? Here's the first placemat. Here's the second one. It's very easy to do. Let me share with you just how. Okay, you're going to purchase some plastic fabric, cut whatever size pockets you want. This is also simply purchased bias tape trim. This is not, you didn't make this and cut it, you just bought a package. Go ahead and sew the bias tape on the top, sew it on the bottom, and then you can work with 1, 2, or 3, or however many placemats you want. Simply place these anywhere you want to, sew the bottom, sew it up then, up so you come along here, whatever size pockets you want to make, and then when you get however many together you want to make, you just simply put your bias binding all the way around the edge, and you will have this really nice notions holder, we've called it, but really you could hold anything that you wanted to in that. I just absolutely love this project. Now then, let's go on to the next one, which was also a really nice project. This one would be great for your teenagers as well as for anybody else who likes makeup and makeup brushes. This was done out of a napkin. Now people, this is the napkin. You can see it's kind of square. This is the napkin and a placemat also. Okay, I'm going to trace off the napkin. I'm going to make a little trace here and make a little trace here, and I'm going to draw a line there because that's where I'm going to put a zipper. All right, I will come along here and cut away, and I've already cut away this piece so you can see I take off one end. Then I'm going to cut along that line and insert a zipper. I haven't done it yet, but you can see where I'm ready to put my zipper in. Now then, let's come over here and look at how we're going to finish it up. I have a placemat on the back. This is my placemat. You see where I've inserted the zipper. And where I have made these lines is where I'm going to stitch. I'm going to stitch along here, and after I stitch along there, I think you can see that I'll have a little pocket, just a little automatic pocket. I can come up here and stitch at the top also if I want to. I'm going to stitch here and all along, and in the one that I have, that's where I have inserted makeup brushes and a fingernail file. Now, you know, one of the things that makes this really cute, or two of the things, are these adorable little tassels. I'm going to come over here and put this little tassel on my zipper, and then if you'll look up here, you're going to see what I'm going to do with the next one. As I close this little case, I just simply stitch that on the little case. Now let me show you. I've used Velcro to close it. Let me open it up for you. See, I put my makeup brushes there. Here's my little zipper. I can come in here and close it up. I have a nice little zipper. And I went in here and sewed the top of it. This really is a nice little case. You could put all kinds of makeup in there. And then I put my fancy tassel right there. I'm going to come up here, 3 little pieces of Velcro, and those are some really, really easy projects. Now another project that is easy and very inexpensive too, of course. I guess you kind of figured out this is really budget stuff. You can sometimes find these placemats at a discount store on sale for under $1 a piece. Now this, I believe, is a really pretty project and so much fun and practical to use. This placemat has really pretty, it looks kind of like tapestry, and there are really beautiful little purchased, not silk ribbon, these are just folded wired ribbons. Now let me open it up and show you the magic in here. I have just taken Ziploc bags. I have 3 in here, but you know, I have seen these done with as many as 8 or 10 or 12 bags. This is so much fun to put sewing things in. All right, see, I can open this one up and put whatever I want, and you know how convenient it is to be able to see what you've got. I mean, you flip through here and it's just like these wonderful baggies, which I sometimes call myself the baggie lady. I use them so much, and needless to say, there are many brands. That's not the only brand. But this is a fun way to carry your feet to your sewing machine, threads. Oh, goodness me, you can open up. And by the way, for those of you that love to smock and to use, you know, different colors of embroidery floss, this is a great way to keep it separated. All right, that's a pretty little bag. Now, how in the world is this one made? Well, very EASY, but you already knew that, didn't you? All right, I'm going to use a placemat. Here's my placemat. Open it up. I've got my bags. I can lay them in here any way I want to. I'm also going to probably take my trusty basting glue. Really, I could use any kind of glue here, but I'm going to glue them down. Now, here's the center line. All right, I'm going to glue one of them over here. I'm going to glue another one down over here. And then I just have one on this side. I can put as many as I want to here, though. I'm going to put them in there, and I'm going to glue them down. And then I'm going to straight stitch it. And you know what? Since I don't have my glue, since I wanted to show, I'm just going to come in here and pin it. That'll work too. I'm going to come in here first of all and just straight stitch it. I bet some of you are thinking, good gracious, that heirloom sewing lady with all those christening dresses and now making a straight stitch through plastic bags. Well, yes, I am, and I'm going to tell you what, sometimes I enjoy doing projects like this that don't take any time and don't take any money either. All right, now I've got all these bags through here, so I'm going to make a quick little run down here, just basting it right along that center line, so I've got everything all in place. And then, and we'll start again, hang on a minute, I'm going to get some ribbon, a pretty piece of ribbon that matches this really good looking placemat I've used. I'm going to put some ribbon across there, and I'm going to come in once again. And this time, I'm going to start over on the edge, and I'm going to stitch the ribbon down. And see, that's going to cover up the edge of these, and I can do 2 stitches, really go down one side, each side of the ribbon, and ribbon this wide might be a good idea, but for purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to stitch it down once, and you see that'll make a really pretty finish on the inside, and people will wonder how on earth you got those interesting bags in there where they look so very pretty. Now basically, ladies and gentlemen, and I do know there are gentlemen watching because you've told me a lot of gentlemen watch and enjoy the show, that is the easiest gift that you could ever make for anybody. Now let's finish it up. I've got some pretty little folded flowers, and you know that a lot of times when you go to the craft store you can buy these already folded. These we've made by hand and stitched up, but it's okay to use pre-purchased ones. And you can put them right there on the craft bag. And you can also take some of your handle, some of your ribbon, and make a little handle if you would like to. And I've got another little flower here. Another one could go in the middle. And then I have some little pieces of Velcro, which I'm simply going to open up the inside. So one on one side, one on the other. Now let me go back and get my little bag. This is really, I think, a pretty project. People would never know that you were just going to have a bunch of baggies in here and how convenient those baggies are too. I've got it decorated on the front. I have it decorated on the back. And when I open it, I have my little handles and I open it up. And I really do have a convenient item, especially for people who love to sew. And now then, I have another placemat project for you. This time it's a home decorating project. This is such a fun and easy gift. Let me tell you, I really believe it'll take no more than 10 minutes to make this, and it's not going to be very expensive either. This is one of those little gizmos that you put in between your mattress and your box springs. This part slips in there, so you can hold your favorite magazine or paperback book, whatever you want to put in there, and then it has a little pocket for your television flipper. Oh, by the way, I have a funny story to tell you. Do you know why your teenagers can't run the washing machine? It's because it does not have a remote control. Sorry, kids. Then you can put tissue or whatever. It has just a little embellishment. You could use any kind of embellishment you wanted, but you talk about easy. Let me just tell you how easy and inexpensive this gift is. And it really is something I think almost everybody could use. All right, I have one placemat here, and I've simply taken one of those inexpensive doilies, folded it in half, and I'm going to stitch it on. Then I'm going to fold it up, making a little pocket, bring it up to the second placemat, kind of lining up the bottom, and guess how difficult this is to make. I'm simply going to stitch from here through 2 layers, from here through 3 layers. I'm going to stitch all the way down this side, and then if I want to, I can stitch in the middle too to make 2 pockets. But people, it is now done. Now, how much easier a gift can you get? You know something? I think this would make a great teacher present, and a lot of times I know we're looking for things that if our children have 5 teachers at school, a piano teacher, a dancing teacher, and a softball coach, and a whatever, you sometimes need to get a lot of gifts made in a hurry. This would really be a fun way to get all of your gifts made. It would take about 10 minutes a gift to make, and it really wouldn't be very expensive either. And now I have a really beautiful silk ribbon project for you. I'm so pleased to have as my guest today my very good friend Beverly Sheldrick. Beverly is from New Zealand, and Beverly is also the author of a wonderful book on embroidery entitled Colonial Inspirations. She is also frequently a guest designer in both So Beautiful and Fancy Work magazines. Beverly, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Martha. It's just fun to be here with you. Now today, Martha, I would like to show our viewers how to do this lovely bow, which on this quilt goes all the way around, comes from the middle all the way around the sides, and it's just so simple but very pretty. We're also going to look at this rose here, which is a very lovely rose. It's a little bit of a fiddle to do, but I think the end result is very good. I also like to do it in a variegated thread. I think it really shows up well in that variegated thread. Now, we're going to look at this bow. You will see that I have already got one done here, and I want to just show you how very, very simple it is to do. Just take a piece of ribbon, And of course, if you were doing it on the show, on the quilt, then you start with a very long piece and you start in the middle. Now, so here we are. Just put a pin in it and then just pin it into place like that. You find to a certain extent that the ribbon actually falls and it dictates the way it goes itself. So let it just sort of do what it wants to. And you can put the occasional little twist in it like this just to make it look pretty. And then we have here our tails and a little flip and a flop. And on we go along our happy way. So you can just see how very, very simple it is. And I think it's rather nice if they're all different. A slightly crazy, think of a child skipping along the road. So there we are. And if you find once you've done it, you don't particularly like what you've done, then it's easy enough to just take out a few pins and have another go until you've got a bow that you really like. Now, once you've got a bow that you like, then just take some thread, just some embroidery thread, and just come up and put a few little French knots. Now, it is important when you put the thread back in to leave 3 or 4 strands of the ribbon. You don't want it going just close and not having it. So there we are. I'll just continue along all the way until the whole thing is knotted down.
While the pins are still in there?
Yes,
okay.
Just while the pin's there. It's very, very simple indeed. Now the second rows is just a little bit more complicated, and you can see here I've got 1 step, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit lower, 6 the other side, again dropping to the side. This one is the same. Now here we have number 6, which goes out, really dropping. There's 7, 8 down below, and then 9 comes up over, and 10 up there, and then the last one comes over there. Now you will notice in these little samples that I've got a little hole in here, a little oval, and you will see that it's those ones that do it. The other thing that you need to know is that this is a side ribbon stitch. Can you see how when I pull it, it goes to the other side? So there's number 1 done, here's number 2. I'm doing this in a 7mm ribbon just to make it a little easier for you to see it. A little bit higher, so there's number 2. Up again to number 3, like that way. You will see that depending on which way I want it to go will mean which side I put the ribbon in. So I want the curl, the side, to go like that. So there's 3 and 4, 5, 6. Let this have a little bit of life. Like that, see how it's curling round. Now we come to 7. We're going to drop it. And through to 8. Like that. See how I've got a bit of bounce in it too. I'm not pulling it hard on the ground. It's just bouncing away. Now, here's those last few stitches. Like that. There's 9. And number 10. Like that. And then the very last one, number 11, comes up in the middle, and you can see how that will fill the whole of that hole. And this very last one is just a straight split stitch, and it will go in the middle there like that. Now, wasn't that easy? But you can see how very, very pretty it is. If you want to have just a stem, then, sorry, not a stem, a bud, then just do a straight stitch like that, and then put the usual fly stitch around it. Now, wasn't that easy?
You know, Beverly, it was easy. I think one would have to think a little bit. What were there, 11 steps?
There were 11 steps to it.
And it's just so beautiful. You know what, I'm surprised that bow really is really easy. I can't wait to try one of those. Thank you so much, Beverly, for being here. And now I'd like to invite you to come along to my attic with me. I purchased this beautiful petticoat in Lebanon, Ohio, and it has so many details on the skirt, I just thought I would forego the top. It was perfectly plain. Let's start on the fancy band. The first thing that I think is perfectly magnificent is this, it's called a Swiss beading. It has entredeaux at the top, entredeaux at the bottom, and you can see where you run the ribbon through. Actually, the ribbon would run over and under, and it would go underneath, and those wonderful little eyelet holes, the color of the ribbon would show through. That is a perfectly magnificent Swiss beading. Now look at this skirt. I love it, I love it. It's upside down and right side up triangles. As you can see, also filled with pin tucks. The pin tucks, some of them run vertically, some of them run horizontally, and you can see there's one triangle. Okay, this triangle has the bottom part of the triangle facing toward the top. It comes down with insertion. Insertion is in the middle, and here are the horizontal pin tucks, and then more insertion. Now let's look at the one next to it. As you can see, it's pointed in the other direction. It has the plain fabric at the top, the insertion, the pin tucks, the insertion, and more pin tucks. And can you see that wonderful miter down at the bottom? After we came down at the little top of the pin tucks, which is facing downward, there is a miter there. Absolutely magnificent. Now, here is another very, very unusual detail. Do you notice that the fullness is not gathered in, but rather it is pleated in? I don't know that I have ever seen a fancy band where the fabric and the fullness was pleated in rather than gathered in. So I thought that was a terribly unusual detail. Then we're going to come on down, and there is 1, 2, and 3. We've got 2 rows of insertion with, of course, the fabric in between, and then a beautiful row of edging, just really pretty edging, a little bit wider than you usually see on petticoats, but I'm thoroughly convinced that these ladies put as much time on their petticoats as they did on their dresses. And now then I have a really nice letter for my Sewing from the Heart segment. Dear Martha, I wanted to tell you about the main service project our quilt guild does. We make preemie quilts for the British Columbia Children's Hospital. The only requirements are that the quilts be approximately 36 inches by 36 inches, have flannel backing, and be quilted with cotton thread, no monofilament and no ties. Each year we supply well over 400 quilts to the hospital. Occasionally we receive a touching letter of thanks from a family who is celebrating their baby's homecoming, or from a family who is living with a terrible loss. We are called the Fraser Valley Quilt Guild, located in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. We have a few challenges each year where the guild supplies a small amount of a certain fabric and the rest is up to the quilter. Our last challenge brought in over 65 quilts. This is from Laura Lee Samandich of Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. Thank you so much, Laura Lee. I certainly appreciate your coming to be with me in my sewing room today, and I'd like to invite you to come again next time.